Your typical podcast.
Thank you for listening to Your Typical Podcast. Me and Pete are back to review. I guess it's not week one of Big Brother, but like midweek recap, catch up. We haven't done an episode since the preseason, so we're just trying to align our thoughts, what we thought before we thought, and now what we think now that we're seeing the first two episodes have premiered. So welcome back.
I feel like the first week of Big Brother always has a little bit extra of content to cover. There's just a little bit more going on. There's a lot of moving parts at play. So, having a check-in halfway throughout the week, I think, can help cover a lot of the, premiere craziness and all that hijinks that has gone down.
After episode one, episode two, we got BB Unlocked. We got the live feeds. What's changed for you? Do you have any big, like, whoa, I thought this, but now I'm thinking something completely different?
I have to admit, I am a little bit changed on my opinions for Rome. I thought he was going to be such a jerk, but it seems like so far he's actually quite the nice fellow. I have enjoyed watching him play a pretty strong game so far, align with lots of people throughout the house. Watching him jump into this showmance with Lyric has been pretty funny, but that's definitely the big change of the week for me. Donnie, have you had any of your pre-game notions shattered?
So, firstly, I agree with that. Rome, shocker. I like Rome. I like him. Actually, I think, interestingly enough, like, he's kind of in a good position, like, definitely, like, on people's minds, but not enough for them to, like, want to target him at least yet. I think, like, there will be people before him. Although this week it seems like maybe the new target is to like take a swing at him, but that to me that just means like he hasn't even done anything, and people want to take a swing at his side of the house. They're just kind of like showing power without even having to do anything yet. I will say a little quick to get into showmance for sure. I'll
Yeah.
see how that plays out for him. For like to me, like might be early Penn, Lyric, and Rome against each other just because. Who else? I actually also I want to give a shout out to Drew. I feel like Drew is proven to be
Yeah.
quite the gamer, which I really love to see. And I think we all kind of like this guy's young. He seems kind of like, only worried about the truth. Like that's what his promo kind of pointed to us. But truthfully, like I think he seems like very strategic and can kind of hang with the big dogs with Devins and D and Barrett and all of that. So I'm excited to see where that leads him as well.
You know what? I have one more person that I think I've changed my mind on just a little bit. We both kind of agreed with the cast reveal that Haley was very, very quiet, didn't really have much to say, but it sounds like so far she's actually here to play. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
All right, so we'll get into episode one. We'll do a quick recap of things that happened just to catch up. Episode one, everyone moved in the house, obviously. One thing that I put is that like Jason walked in the house first, which I'm like, wow, Jason, I expected more from you. Not and it's just the rumor that curse of walking in the house first, which I don't know if anyone has ever won who's walked in the house first. So I
So
don't
I did a
know if
little bit
it's
of
real or
research
not.
because of our affinity towards Jason and wanting him to succeed this season. Tamar Braxton of Celebrity Big Brother 1 walked into the house first and won the game, but nobody has done it in Big Brother. So in one format, it has been done. So I think that maybe the curse is broken, but I still think it's kind of a rookie mistake.
Yeah. Just for the sheer idea of it, I would just avoid it. Just because why even play with that? Even if I'm like, you know what, it might be true, it might not be true. Let's not even. So I expected more from Jason, but you know what? Whatever. Also, the way that they did the premiere, I guess he could have moved out the way, but who cares at this point? So, and then Julie reveals that none of the newbies will be the HOH for the first week, and that they'll be welcoming some reality TV icons to the house who will compete for HOH. How do you feel about this twist with the I want to say vets. It's like weird to say vets because two of them aren't technically vets. But with D, Angela, Devin's coming in. Do you think it's fair to only have them be able to be eligible to play HOH or no?
You know what? I think that this is definitely one of those things that the vets are coming into the game with a significantly higher target on their back. It is important to give them all a chance to find some proper footing. They're likely going to help each other out. I don't think it's a crazy, awful advantage that one of the vets is going to be the first head of household of the season. It gives them a chance to really establish themselves in the game and take off the reason of, well, they're just a vet. Let's get them out of the game quickly. I think that
Mhm.
there are definitely, you know, some maybe favoritism, at play here. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's probably better for the overall game. How are you feeling about it?
I feel good about it for the most part. Like I thought it was a kind of interesting dichotomy for, and we're kind of skipping ahead, but Rachel was in the game and then she wasn't in the game. It's this whole fake out thing that kind of left me surprised. But D comes into the house, doesn't get to connect with anyone, plays for HOH and wins HOH. So like her first introduction to these newbies is as HOH, which I think is super interesting. And we'll get into like the who's safe, who's not. But like I would have liked to, if that was going to be the case, give some of the newbies more of an opportunity to be safe. Like only three feels like a little imbalance versus like maybe everyone on D's team should have been safe with her or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to give her less options. Like, okay, she has an advantage, kind of not even having to make first impressions with anyone. Just come in and be HOH right away. In a Survivor-esque challenge that she probably had
Yeah.
an advantage in
Yeah.
playing anyway. So yeah, that was interesting to me. I'm not mad at it, obviously. Like I love D. I did not want D to go home first this week. And I also think D is using the HOH as perfectly as someone can on a first HOH, where you're making relationships, you're not isolating people, you're purely basing it on how to position yourself best in the game. So I kind of like that, but yeah, I'm just thinking about all the newbies. Like, damn, like they didn't even get a chance. Like the person who goes gets voted out this week potentially could be a person who didn't even get a chance to play in any challenges. So like that sucks.
I think I'd be a little bit miffed about that. Absolutely.
Mhm. So Enzo comes. We get a cameo from Enzo, and he basically
The
tells
meow
everyone
meow.
that meow meow. Throwback to Frankie, Danielle, and Brittany. It's funny. I was like, did they plan this all along, or was this like something that they're like, actually, let's use this. We put the yum yum thingy. But Enzo tells everyone they have to find vials with correct numbers, and that's how they can compete for safety for the week. So everyone finds the correct number, but Ashley and Barrett, and then we get these three groups are competing for safety, which I think is nice. I think it's fun to like break them up in groups, and with each challenge they're bringing a vet into the game. So that was like a fun little twist. So the first challenge was like the balance tree, and with the time travel thing, you see young Angela.
So
And
funny. So funny to have a young Angela actress on the show. What
I
a
thought it was
great
funny
touch.
too.
Thank you, Big Brother.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too, and also it's like I don't know, like some things I wish they threw a little Angela-ism in there. So it's like if any of the house
Mm-hmm.
guests were really big fans, they could have probably guessed. They do the balance tree. Challenge for group 1, so we got Lala, Kamu, Mallory, and Rome, the 4 of them competing for safety, and we've seen this challenge on Big Brother before. Rome kinda figures out that, like, a lot of people wanna do light on top, heavy on the bottom, but the trick was heavy on top, light on the bottom. So Rome wins the first challenge, and he is safe for the week, and that prompts Angela to enter the game.
I will say, seeing Angela enter felt a little bit different than the other two. Most
Mhm.
of the folks seemed to have an idea of who Angela was. I don't know if BB26 was a season that they had the contestants watch, but it did seem like she had a little bit more fanfare, a little bit more immediate reaction. I think I saw something on Twitter. Barrett looked like he jumped like 1 or 2 feet into the air. Seeing her
Agreed.
walk into the house, she seemed like a really, really momentous moment entering into the BB house for her return time.
I agree with that. And also, like, truthfully, like, I think a good probably like gauge. for fanness, it's like watching the recent seasons, and Angela was just on 2 seasons ago, so
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. She was a big personality. Most people should know. Like, I would be concerned if they didn't know who Angela was.
They better buckle
But
up if they
yeah,
don't.
yeah, they better buckle up. Although she is, I will say, like, Angela is kind of like winning me over this season too. Like, I think the way that she's playing and she's really leaning socially, I think it's actually perfect for her not to have one HOH this week. I don't think she needs it. I think she just needs to focus on building relationships. And she seems a little like, I saw something today where it's like they must be sneaking Angela's Xanax because she just seems so calm and collected. She's not as crazy this time as she was last time. Like, by this time last season, we got her speech to Matt.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
already. Like just a couple days in. But yeah,
Mhm.
maybe those Xannies or something else they're giving her are helping her cool off.
Yeah. And also, I will say this cast just seems a little more. I think when you come in as a vet, you kind of have the advantage, and maybe she's like seeing that, and she's like, okay, they're coming to me, not
She has
I'm
some
coming.
wisdom.
Yeah, good. And she should do that, and I'm happy that she's seeing that and kind of using that. So then we go to group 2 for a little plank challenge. We've also seen this on Big Brother before, where you have
Mm-hmm.
2 planks, you have to stand on one and move one at a time. We got Haley, Chuck, Taylor, Drew. I will say, like, it was kind of not even competition between Drew and Haley because they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They were stuck at the beginning. So it was kind of Taylor versus Chuck, and Chuck pulled out the win. So Chuck is also safe this week. That brings Rick Devens into the game. And this is where we kind of see Rick Devens enter the house, and we don't get as much fanfare for Devens. The people who do know him are like, I don't trust him. He didn't say hi to Taylor. Taylor took offense to that. Like, it was like a little more
Mm-hmm.
iffy for Devin, which I thought was funny for him.
I believe I remember in watching the episode, I forget who he says it to, but I believe Barrett whispers into somebody's ear pretty quickly. We can't trust him. He knows
Mhm.
how to play. So I think there's a little bit more of a timid response to Devon's entering into the game. Donnie, what do you think about that?
I think they're all right on the money. I think if Devins or Angela or D into the game while I was there, my sights would be on them right away to get them out. I think that's probably why the show decided that we wanted to at least make a vet HOH for the first week so we don't have to worry about Angela being first food or Devins being first food. But I will say, like, they definitely have a hard road ahead.
Yeah.
Devins, D, Angela, you guys are huge threats. You have played games like this before, and also the disadvantage for D and Devins is like season 50 probably just recently wrapped as
Mm-hmm.
all of them were getting into sequester for this. So like they just saw you. To especially Devins. Devin had a great season on season 50. But it was also very
Yeah.
deceitful, very lying, very big and boisterous. So I would be like, I gotta watch out for Devins as well. And out of the 3, based on how things are going so far, I wouldn't be surprised if Devins is the first target of the new to get out.
Yeah. I agree with you right there.
All right.
He definitely is someone that relies on that backstabbing and deception to a degree, and it's tough in the early game of Big Brother to really play on that.
Mhm. We gotta get our boy Devins a time capsule stat
Mm-hmm.
just so we can see what he does with it. And then group 3, we have Lyric, Jason, Yash, and Mallory competing in this booth memory challenge for safety. I would have been mad if I was any of them. The amount of paint they blasted them with was entirely too much. Like, I laughed out loud when Jason was like, "Is she dead?" Because it gave me like Nickelodeon slimed. Have you ever seen a video of Katy Perry getting slimed and it's like knocks her off her feet damn near? Like, that's how I felt what happened to Melody. She gets blasted with paint. I think Yash got out, then Lyric got out, and then Jason won. I'm happy for Jason. I was glad that he won the first challenge and he can kind of just relax for this week.
Safety.
And then that's when Rachel enters, which I don't think any fans expected at all. So it's kind of a
So
fun
shocking.
surprise. Fun surprise for all of us, and shortly lived because then Rachel gets killed by a dinosaur, which is so funny because it's like Imagine suggesting someone watch Big Brother season 28 and we see a contestant get pushed in a volcano by a dinosaur. And it's like, this is this is why we can't get new fans. Like, guys, like let's be normal for a second. It was kind of cheesy, but I liked it. It was Big Brother cheesy. And then that's when we get D in the game and officially or unofficially, I don't know, our 17-person cast is formed. We
18.
which
Rachel's already been eliminated.
yeah, Rachel's already gone. Medevac burned to death. And yeah, and then we get our HOH competition, and that's where D wins. And yay. That that's kind of the unlocked and the first episode kind of wrapped into one. I was gonna
Mhm.
ask you, do you like BB Unlocked? Do you think it's needed? Do you think it adds anything to the show?
I use BB Unlocked as a great way for like another 20 minutes of content. I don't go through anything that Derek and Taylor and Jerry are saying. I kind of just
Yeah.
skip through that. I'm sure they provide great commentary, but it's a lot of stuff that we've already seen. And if
Yeah.
you're watching the live feeds, it's something that you've seen maybe, at this point 3 times or twice.
Mhm.
So I am not a huge fan of it. How are you with the Unlocked?
I would rather them truthfully take Unlocked to give us a live feed update. That's
Yeah.
all we need. Like literally maybe tell us about America's Vote or whatever, but like, do we need to see Taylor like interact with them? Like, we don't need to re-meet them and learn more facts about the house guests. Like, we rather learn that as they're in the house with each other because some stuff doesn't really come into play. Like, love Jason, love Selena's titties, but like, I don't care that they crochet. Like, let them talk about it in the house. I'd rather them give them a crochet kit in the house and let us see how
Yeah,
well they
let them
crochet.
cook.
Like, I don't think I need. And then like the whole thing with like Rachel coming back and like time travel thing. It was like, okay, they're basically just trying to make like an after show for Big Brother, and I don't think it's needed. Like, utilize it for something else.
The
Something
potential's there. That's the
yeah.
thing because like having a live feed update or having extra content that you wouldn't be able to see that was meaningful would be really fun to watch. But a lot of it is just, pregame interviews right now. So maybe down the road, Unlocked gets better. But I did just watch kind of those like quick, single question producer video, at the end and wasn't really
Mhm.
too blown away by anyone's responses or any of the, things they were talking about.
We met everyone 3 times too, like, we saw their promos
Hmm.
online, and then the beginning of episode 1 was meeting them again, and it's like BB Unlocked was needed, and then again, I'm like, "We got it, we get it, we know these people. Let us actually get to know who they're showing on the show, because that gives us way more context than, like, us being like, "Oh, this is their pre-show self." They're like, some people aren't giving a lot, or some people are giving too much, or some people like it didn't really tell me anything. So now we're just kind of getting into live feed updates. Before episode 2, I saw I guess Sunday an episode came out as well that we can talk about, but I feel like the live feed kind of covers most of that anyway.
Yeah.
But we already talked about D winning the first HOH, and I think with D winning first HOH has been interesting to watch because I feel like Angela's first HOH in season 26 and D's first HOH in 28 are the polar opposite, and D is playing the way he should. I think first HOH should never be to isolate people. It should never be to draw lines in the sand. It should never be to kind of show yourself as the big dog of the house or anything like that because the game is so early. You know you cannot play for HOH the following. So like a lot of times what happens like Frenchie, Angela, whatever the first HOH does comes back to bite them very quickly in the next week. And again, the advantage of not really people getting to know her before she's even HOH. So like she's speaking to them from a position of power. I think it's so good for her. And I'm curious to see like it seems like she's made some really strong relationships from it. And I think it's gonna carry her through the season really well. How are you feeling about these HOH?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with the piece of there are definitely 2 different ways to play the first set of Household, and it can be very volatile, and that hasn't really worked in the past. I think the better way to play is to really build those alliances and cut deals that can take you through a majority of the game if you play them correctly. Seems like Dia's constructed a couple of alliances that are really gonna help her out down the road. I am just wondering how the house will react if the power swings or Dia is no longer the head of Household. There is that piece that we were talking about where She really has not been in the game outside of being a head of household. She doesn't really know these folks maybe as closely as they feel to each other. They may feel a lot of their conversations with Dee have been a little bit artificial because of that. So I do wonder to see how that affects her game going forward.
That's a good thing to mention too. We're seeing like an edited version of Move In Day, but it could have been 2 days before D actually joined the house, which I'm thinking that's probably along the lines of, like, filming schedule and doing all
Mm-hmm.
the things. Therefore, like, people had some time to bond and connect way before D got into the house, and, like, even Rachel had time to, like, make alliances and pull people together, so, like, D did miss some time. Who did D nominate? Can you tell us?
So it was just mentioned in the this evening's episode, but Dee officially announced her nominations being Mallory, Yash, and Taylor. Mallory took it original or immediately very tough. She seemed to have a very hard reaction to the nomination. Taylor seemed to take it from more of a, this is a hurdle I will get over. Yash is kind of feeling a little bit betrayed, a little bit hurt that Dee is nominating him, especially because he feels like he has helped her in the past. It seems like there's a little bit of tension there.
Mhm.
How
I
are you
definitely
feeling?
agree with that, and I think what am I trying to say? I think these make sense. It's always like a crapshoot for week 1, like, there's
Mm-hmm.
no real rhyme or reason to put anyone up, to be fair. We even talked about, like, Mallory seems like the type of player that, like, you know what type of player she is by looking at her, and it is someone that I would be on guard about. So it's like, people, if they're having a hard time connecting with her, which I think you pointed this out, she said that her strength is making friends, but she's having a hard time connecting with people. Interesting to to say about yourself, and you're it's not we're not seeing it so far. Well, we are seeing it with certain people, but not as a whole.
Maybe Mallory is waiting to unleash her secret power of making friends.
Okay.
She seems like she has been getting along with Angela pretty well on the feats, and having that ally in Yvette could help her down the road.
Yeah. I mean, also props to Angela here because that's another thing where like she is trying to be like the mama bear. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be nominated. It doesn't mean you're gonna go home. Granted, she was G's target. So, like that, but she didn't know that. So it's like, you're not, doesn't mean you're gonna go home. And another thing where I'm like, okay, Angela, I see you like being there for people, even though you're kind of part of the group that wanted Mallory on the block, closing any doors, which I think is the exact thing that Angela needed to change because
Yeah.
week 1, she drew a line in the sand, and basically the line in the sand was her in a circle alone. So I'm glad that she's doing better. For Taylor and Yash, I think the unfortunate, like, I don't even know if there's like a real true reason that D put them on the block, just kind of like luck of the draw. M- But Yash is upset, and it seems like he's probably gonna use some of that frustration to how the week plays out. And based on how things are going, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like I think he might be rubbing people more the wrong way than just kinda taking it into stride, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out for him. And yeah, we get to the veto then, and our veto players are D, Yash, Taylor, Mallory, obviously, and Barrett and Lyric. We don't know what the veto is, obviously, but we're gonna get into our spoiler section. Now we're gonna talk about things that have happened on the live feeds that we don't know technically yet. Me and Pierre are gonna talk about them, so we'll
Mm-hmm.
give you 5 seconds. Well, if you don't watch the live feeds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Who won the veto?
Dee's very own target, Mallory, secures the veto win and is able to take herself off the block.
Yes. Mallory, I don't know if she knew how much she needed to win, but she definitely did.
I think, even if we can't speak to the challenge, I think that there's a lot of really great that we can even just ascertain from what we've learned so far. Having Mallory, that house target, that from what you were saying, Donnie, that it seemed like a lot of the house was ready to drop her pretty much week 1. Seems like she's having a hard time gelling with the rest of the folks. Having this win creates the norm that the power of veto will be used, and hopefully means that the power of veto will be continued to use throughout the season. Uh, I think that it's a great way to start the game. It, gets a fourth person on the block. It really complicates things. It's tough for D's game. as you're saying. And it seems like there are really quite a few names up in discussion for who D would like to throw up. But also, it sounds like kind of every day there's a new person to throw onto the fire or to, rake over the coals,
Mhm.
so to say.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a lot of people. I know, like, Kamu and Haley were pushing it for it to be Lala, so
Mhm.
that was, like, what they wanted, which Dee seems unreceptive to. She doesn't wanna rock the boat that much. There's, like, a perceived alliance of, like, Melody, Mallory, and Taylor, so they were like, "Oh, maybe we should put Melody on the block too to kinda break that up." And what I'm kinda gathering, and I could be wrong, it probably will be Ashley who goes on the block because it feels like the path of least resistance for D. Like, no one's gonna be super upset at Ashley going on the block, which kinda sucks because I like Ashley, and I do think moving and this kinda where we go back into the blockbuster where it's like I could see a world if Ashley does go on the block, she goes home without being able to, like, play for Veto, play for HOH, play for
Yeah.
safety, and that kinda sucks. Like, I'm like, "Damn," like, she really didn't have a shot. And Blockbuster, sure, that's another challenge, but, like, depending on what it is, like, she might not have a shot either.
Mhm.
So that would suck for Ashley to be number 1 out as our Chicago queen, but
Our
I guess
our
that's the way
Chicago
she goes.
queen.
Yeah, I guess that's the way she goes if that happens. We don't know yet, unconfirmed.
I have also been hearing that it sounds like Yash is really, really starting to build a counter insurgence towards D and some of D's veteran aligned allies. So I wonder how that continues to unfold throughout the first week. I do think that although Ashley might be in some hot water being the renominee, whether Yash successfully tanks his own game week one, which seems to be something that happens most Big Brother seasons, is that one of these nominees just finds a way to get themselves out of the game.
Yeah, Zay last season. I think with Yash, I think it's like interesting. He's in a great position if he can talk shit and back it up. Talk shit, make an alliance against D and whoever goes into Blockbuster, wins, is safe, not even eligible to get voted out. Ashley goes home, most likely, but maybe even Taylor. Yash comes back. He has, the swing to like, okay, now forward motion. Now I'm taking my shot now. And I think he can really make a push for that. I think where it probably will fall flat for Yash is if he doesn't win the blockbuster. You don't really have and perhaps he maybe has the numbers to say. I have to like but it seems like a lot of people want again, like the path of least resistance for the first week. So I don't think anyone's gonna fight hard for Yash Tuesday. Therefore, I just think, like if he is gonna kind of like we said, like be that like fierce player, I just think I wouldn't go into the blockbuster like before I start to like really shake the boat. Let me make sure I can keep myself safe first. And then I want to shake the boat. And I wish he would all about timing. Like I get it. I think you can plant seeds, but it seems like he's going like full throttle, but too soon because he's on the block and the people that he's aligning with aren't, which is why they're not worried, but he should be worried.
Yeah. I think it might just be one of those simple cases of he's playing too hard, too fast.
Yeah. Too hard, too fast. I know it's probably so hard not to do that when you get nominated week 1. Of course, you wanna do that.
Hmm.
So I wanna talk about the house dynamics because I think there's
Yes, yes.
some groups forming that I think could inform the season, maybe. So the first group that I wanted to talk to you about is this, like, power structure of Dee, Barrett, Drew, Rick, and Angela. What do they call themselves? The crossroads?
The
Cross
Crossroads.
Crossroads. How are you feeling about this 5-person alliance? Are they the dominant one?
I think that this is a very scary alliance to look across the, table at. I would be very scared of facing up against these five. It is really, really great at the social game and the strategic game. And it seems like Barrett and Drew are some of the, bigger students, quote unquote, of the game. And Rick and Angela are your other two vets. That's a fearsome alliance. I wonder how long they're able to mitigate the perceived threat of the two vets with two of the bigger super fans of the season. How are you feeling about the crossroads?
I'm gonna share this graphic that you shared me earlier, so everyone can
Yes.
see. Like, there's a lot going on. I think this is a strong alliance. The one thing that I will say, and Jason has already clocked them. They're the obvious alliance to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I had to pick 5 people who are gonna get together and try to run the game, it's gonna be 3 vets that came in the game and the 2 super fans. Of course, they like that makes so much sense to me, and I think it might be a little naive to think like this 5-person alliance with the 5 strongest players is gonna run the season because as I said, like this other side that is kind of like forming, I can see them putting 3 of them up easily and boom, there
Absolutely.
goes the crossroads. Like they're gone. So I'd be interested to see how they play this. We also have this like interesting 5-2 that Devons and D are a part of called the Red Corner as well.
Yeah.
Uh, what was the inspiration of the name of the Red Corner?
So the
Named
red
by them.
corner it's some UFC cage fighting reference.
Mhm.
But, a lot of folks are saying that the new players, Chuck, Camu, and Haley, are also, maybe right leaning, more red than blue on the political
Mhm.
spectrum. So there could be a double entendre there that Big Brother might be hiding from us. Maybe not. It's entirely possible that's not the case, but just a little bit of speculation.
Also, I think the alliance that I think we should keep an eye out for is this like Roman Empire alliance with Rome, Jason, Yash, Lyric, Lala, and Taylor, and Barrett, I guess, is a part of it too, kind of. But I think like they're in the best position because if Yash does go home, I think they're gonna want revenge. So that's number one.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that the Crossroads are realizing that. I do think Ashley is the path of least resistance for them, and that's who they should vote out. I know it's gonna be tricky because you want numbers and yada 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 yada. But also, if Yash stays, I also think they're in a lot of trouble too. I think the Roman Empire, looking at this chart, pick up Mallory. Like she has connections. Like
Yeah.
put her in your alliance because I think they have the more loyal numbers. I think that's where like I feel like the
Hmm.
loyalty is gonna lie with there because like you got Taylor and Lala who are gonna like be connected with each other. You got Roman and Lyric who are basically in a showmance to show everyone. And it just like you have Jason who like you can tell is like this emotional person who makes strong emotional bonds with people. The vets are like soon as they get an opportunity to turn on each other, they probably will. Like for sure.
Hmm.
Even like Dee was already upset that Devin shared the red corner with Drew and Angela. So like there's already cracks that they don't want Dee doesn't want them to know all the information. And so we'll see what happens. But it is kind of an interesting alliance chart where basically everyone is kind of connected to everyone in some instance. Besides Mallory, who's kind of like on Lonely Island.
Hmm.
And like someone should probably like pick her up as a number. Like and I think what also happened to with Mallory, like unfortunately, people kind of thought she was going home.
Hard
Great
hole
for
to dig
her.
yourself out of.
Yeah. But Ashley did it last season.
Yes, she
She was
did.
going home week 1. She won the veto and she turned it around. And she was on the block a few more times. And I also think that could happen to Mallory too. Like again, like the easy now.
Hmm.
Mallory's been on the vote. We'll see what happens. The next thing, the dynamics in the house that I want to chat about is this freaking showman.
Oh my God. It is hilarious. They are so in love, and it is day, what, 4, 5?
So Lyric literally asked Rome, "Do you love me?" Just kidding, girl.
They're macking on each other. And a great part of the second episode is Yash is like, hey, I'm right here, sitting in the same room. Meanwhile, they're up on the, second level making out with each other.
If you were Yash, would you be like on my list, or would you be like, "Let me use this"? Like, what? How would you feel about that?
That's a good question. I think I'd try to use the you know what? Your secret's safe with me, girls. I don't think that this showmance is going to bode well for either of their games. I think keeping this under wraps, despite how maybe insurmountable that is at this point, is probably for the better. And saying, I see your showmance and maybe I can support it. Maybe I can,
Yeah.
if you vote for me to stay, I can keep you guys around too.
Yeah. I mean, if I was aligned with them, I think 2 votes. It's 2 people. I only gotta convince 1. So that would be
Yeah.
what my brain would think. And then also, like, in this house of 17 people, 2 people being aligned is not very threatening. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like when people are like, "Oh, these 2 people know each other," or like, "These people in a relationship," like, that's 2 people out of 17, like, needless to say, Rick Devens and D have a stronger relationship than Blair and Rob. So, like, I think it's something just to note that, like, it's not necessarily the big threat that it seems like, in my opinion. And also, like, let's see how it plays out. There's also another duo in the house that I wanted to chat about. And I actually saw this on TikTok. It might have been Friday, and
Okay.
I see it manifesting in the house that Drew and Barrett actually know each other.
Really?
Mhm. They
Wow.
both follow they both follow each other on Instagram. They don't follow anyone
Wow.
else in the house. And Drew or Barrett hosts this, like, reality show podcast. Like, theoretically, like, he could have been connected to Drew in that way. There's
Yeah.
also another podcast that Barrett hosted that taken down. It's called Julie's Chin. That people can't find, but they're like, maybe Drew was a guest on that podcast. And I will say, like, looking at their relationship, like, Drew and Barrett both have been involved with, like, almost every decision-making conversation that has happened over the past few days. They're not even getting a lot of attention because they've attached themselves to, like, a Angela, a Devin, a D. Like, they're not no one's looking at them quite yet, and I think that's a really good place to be, but I
Yeah.
do think it's kind of like a place to flame out really quickly as well. How do you feel about hearing that?
I that's funny. I didn't hear about that, but I did hear that Drew has watched or listened to over 100 hours of RHAP podcast footage through his life. So the fact that he knows the other reality TV podcasters isn't too big of a shock.
Mhm.
I'm not
Surprisingly, I
surprised.
know Drew too.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So, this community is much more connected than is really I feel like is ever really let on. Yeah, I think that having this tight duo is good in the early game, but I do think it does lead to maybe the possibility of being identified as an early duo target, especially if they are the two that are connected closely to the other three vets. I think it's an easy duo to be locked into. And seems like they're both playing a very similar game, which is going to be hard to kind of go to the end with each other on.
I agree with that. Also, like, apparently Drew has a relationship to Devins too, not exactly in like a they know each other, but like a Beast Games connection. Like,
Beast games, of
Devins
course.
flipped the coin, Drew's on Beast Games. So they also have that like likening to each other as well, which I think is interesting. Um, Something that I want to do every episode is I want to say it's power rankings, like kind of ranking where everyone is in the house dynamic as of now, and kind of going through it. I made this one, so we'll see if you agree or not. We can also switch things around if you like. Kind of put everyone into 5 groups. All right. So I think the driver's seat group, my vote is we got D kind of in the best position in the house. I think it makes sense. She's been in power since she walked into the game. And I kind of got Barrett and Drew. I think they're interchangeable number 2 and number 3. Just being like they're again very well connected. They're kind of in the middle of things. Like we already talked about, Drew is kind of in the middle of these 2 big alliances, kind of trying to go to war with each other already, and Barrett is in the middle. So like whichever one comes out on top, if he can stay untraceable between both, he could probably go with that other group and be fine in the game. How do you
Yeah.
feel about these top 3? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think, D is one, obviously, is head of household. That makes total sense. I think Drew and Barrett, yeah, they're right there. I think, the maybe the question you have here is, why is Angela and Devon's not here if D is very close to them? But I do think that they do have that bigger threat level that they need to actively be working on mitigating all week long. So I think that
Mhm.
Drew and Barrett are able to kind of assume a little bit more power, make some better connections, solidify maybe a couple more deals than Angela and Devon's might be able to do.
I agree with that. And like Devon's is actually in this blue group, which is kind of good. It's like the second tier. I have Haley here because I do think we like see these groups and we have D the head of her group basically. And I would say Rome is the head of his group. And to me, Haley is the head of her group. So they're all kind of at the top of each group. So that's why Haley is so high to me. And Rick and Rome are kind of in this group. I think Rick is doing a good job of just being quiet, just kinda letting things happen, not saying too much, kind of laying back, and he's not in power, but he's not in danger, so, like, why do too much? So I'm really enjoying Rick.
I think these three are really good for this week. I think any of these three being put up will incur a significant backlash from the rest of the house and probably
Yeah.
poison D against the house. I will say I think these are maybe three people that could be nominated next week, especially as those heads of the snakes or heads of the dragons. Some dragon slayers might say. I
Yeah.
think they're good for now, but I worry for their long term.
Mhm. Next group, I think, is in the comfy position. I meant to put Chuck with no C, sorry. Whoops. Um, I have Angela, Jason, Chuck, and Lala in this section. This is actually the section that I would personally want to be. I
Yeah.
don't think I would wanna be at the top, and I don't think I wanna be at the bottom. I would kinda just wanna be sitting pretty in the middle, especially week 1. I don't wanna be anywhere near where the power is coming from and where it's going to. Do you agree with this side? I think Angela is kind of in a good position because she's really making social connections right now. She's not trying to rock the boat, she's not pushing an agenda, she's just kind of sitting silently and just connecting with people.
Angela's kind of been playing this like wise old owl game for the first couple of days, like telling people about how, her first experience was this and she did this time and giving people tips. And I think that that can take you quite a far way through the game. Just being
Mhm.
that person that you feel like you can go to for, guidance and support. So I think that it makes a lot of sense for her to be in this comfy zone. And the other three, yeah, Lala, Chuck, Jason. I don't know if any of these three are really on people's radars. I know that Lala was being thrown out as a possible renominee, but it doesn't seem like that's really gained too much traction at this point. I don't see really anyone that's going to be putting any of those three up. I think that they're probably comfy. They're not pushing anything, but they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Lala, I will say, like, one of my impressions of her so far is very outspoken, and I
Mm-hmm.
think, like, it seems like it's rubbing him the wrong way, how she
Mm-hmm.
speaks and just how she interacts, but the fact that someone pitched Lala to D and D was like, "No," like, I think that says a lot that, like, people aren't, like, seriously considering putting her up, at least at this point. I also wanna talk about Jason too, because I think Jason is kind of in a precarious position where I think naturally, in my mind, he might align with Angela D, Devons, Drew,
Mm-hmm.
Barrett, but I kinda like that he's outside of that because I think, like, whenever the backlash comes, he's gonna be outside of either group that like, I don't think he's gonna be the one targeted in either group, which I think is a great position to be, and I don't know, I think people are just seeing Jason as, like, this emotional puppy dog right now, which honestly, don't knock it. I'm like, yeah, like
Open up to
you're
them.
just
Yeah.
yeah, you're just trying to connect with people, and I think that's a good strategy. I will say Jason is planning to play for HOH and go for it the next week and wants to get blood on their hands and wants to kind of like make waves. Maybe too early, and that may move them down in my list, but also maybe move them up if they can like pull it off. I don't necessarily think it's bad to kind of try to push the game in your favor right away, but I think it's how you do it and how you kinda manage that. Like, it's not something you should do without a plan. So we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah. I think that's a good group, the comfy group.
This next group I think is fine too. This is kind of like the fair group. I don't wanna say they're good or bad. kind of near the bottom, but also not necessarily. Like you get someone like Ashley who like is kind of like a pawn that people won't mind going home, and that's
Mhm.
kinda how I feel about this group in totality. Like, I think if any of them got nominated, if the wrong thing happened, I see like a Cedric happening to them where like, yeah, you're just the next choice.
Yeah.
Sorry. We got Ashley, Melody, Lyric, and Kamu. Ashley kinda being at the top of that, though if again the wrong thing happens this week, I can see Ashley getting voted out for really no rhyme or reason at all besides being in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is being on a block.
Mhm.
Do any of these stick out to you at all?
I mean, we've talked about Ashley, and yeah, I think that these are kind of just a couple of those people that really haven't had a lot of say or a lot of sway in this first week. We didn't really see anything from Melody, especially in this last episode. Lyric, what we know about her is tied to Rome. Camus, I still think has a little bit quieter of a presence so far. I wonder if, he starts to try and really compete for these competitions, if he can really turn that around and really move up his positioning in the house. So
Okay.
he's the one I have the biggest question on, but the other three do feel like people that right now in this game don't have a lot of power.
I agree with that. I think Kamu would be nominated probably in a lot of instances next week,
Mhm.
which is why I think he's toward the bottom of this list. I
Mhm.
know like Drew personally like just does him and Kamu don't see eye to eye. Rome doesn't like Kamu either. So,
Mhm.
like, I think if Rome's side wins, I think Kamu is kind of like an ideal nominee. I think if Drew's side wins, even though Drew's connected to D and Devon's, I also think Kamu is
He's
probably
probably
a
going up.
potential nominee. So I think Kamu's kind of in the danger zone, but again, like in the danger zone where you have numbers, you have allies that maybe can stay around. I don't know. Too soon to say. And then we kinda have our danger zone people. So, originally, Mallory was kind of at the bottom of this list for me. I think she still is. I think the fact that you're gonna go home 100% if you did not win the veto just says a lot. And then, obviously, next best choice is Yash. And I also think if Yash wins Blockbuster, next best choice is Taylor. I was like,
Yeah.
any of these people can go get voted out this week. I guess not Mallory, but, like, yeah, it's like not a place you wanna be week 1 for sure.
And all three of these folks, whether they make it through this round or not, are still seeing a significant upward battle these next couple weeks. Unless they're winning head of household, a lot of people are probably putting up a combination of the survivors of this group.
Yeah, I think Mallory is gonna be a perpetual pawn, so I hope she keeps her seat warm on the block. I think, unfortunately, Taylor I just think when we kinda saw this already, and I think you called it, like, with, like, Taylor being she just seems like a dominant, like, personality in the house,
Hmm.
like, we got to know how she felt right away about Devon's, like, I think you kinda see it on her face, she's really close to Lala. I think Taylor's just gonna be a strong personality that, like, someone like D might clash with, which I could see why
Yeah.
people put them on the block, but D has made it clear to Taylor that she's not her target, she's not intending her to go anywhere. And then Yash, again, like, when you do react so big to someone doing something in the game, and again, I know how else you're supposed to react. I just think it just shows, like, okay, Josh is gonna be coming for blood, so, like, Imma get him before he gets me
Hmm.
type of energy, so unfortunately, that leaves Yash, yeah, in this danger zone. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of things can change between today, Sunday, and Wednesday or Thursday when someone gets voted out. We still don't know who the veto is getting used on to like well we know. We know that Mallory probably will use the veto on herself, but we don't know who's getting replaced on the block, and that could also like kind of spearhead like a different plan or maybe
Hmm.
something happens in the middle of that where like anything can happen in 4 days as we saw like with the whole relationship happening. So I
Yeah.
won't count anyone out just yet. But yeah, those are kind of my rankings. I think we can kind of change this up every week as we kind of get to know the dynamics of the house, kind of talk about who's in the best position. Because even though Drew and D and Barrett are in the green zone, I don't necessarily think they're in the best position of the game. I
No.
actually will be shooting purple.
Yeah, I
I will
agree.
be shooting for purple. Actually, like orange, top of orange is not a bad place to be in the house dynamics, especially as things are kind of shaking out and like, you're nominating 3 people for eviction every week. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and it could come from your part of any of. Where would you want to be if you had to choose?
I think I'd want to be in that good area. Not at the top, not an immediate threat, but able to build enough alliance, cut enough deals to the point where I'm feeling like I can hopefully parlay, these original good standings into a couple of weeks of safety.
Mhm. No, I agree with that. I think like the good part is good because you're not necessarily a threat, but you're not necessarily not a threat. And I think you kind of want to be a threat. Like you want people to take you seriously right off the bat.
Hmm.
You don't want to be like someone who people are overlooking and like you have to convince a jury to pick you. Like you want to be like, no, like guys, remember week 2, like I know my name got thrown out. It got heard, but like I know, like I've been playing the game this whole time. So, like a Rick, Rome, and Haley, like it's not a bad position to be in for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Enough to
Right.
where you can't be like the floater pawn that someone just needs a third person to put up and it ends up being you and then you get sent
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, I don't see, especially in that good zone, any of them being cons
No.
because they're too salacious cons.
Hmm.
So I've been waiting for this moment since we did it. Our drafts, I want to pick who we want on our teams to represent Team Pete and Team Donnie the whole season.
All right.
Uh, I'm excited for this. I think it's gonna be so fun. Let me pull up the cast just so we can see it all of them in one place.
Yeah, I mean, my original thoughts have changed significantly. I thought I was coming in here wanting to take Taylor, but I don't know if that's true anymore.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say don't start to step on my territory here.
yeah.
All right, I will let you pick first, but since you're the guest, you're
Oh, thank you.
the moving in. I will let you get the first pick of anyone you want in the cast.
Oh, there's a lot of good choices. Just based off of what we know so far, I think I'm gonna go with Barrett.
Okay. That was gonna be my first choice.
All right. Dang. Well,
Got it.
swooped it under from you.
You did. Bear's a great choice. I'm not mad at that. I would have picked Bear first as well. Uh, to pivot, I am going to pick Barrett's right hand man, Drew, for my team.
I think that was probably a higher up pick for myself as well. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with D.
D. Okay. So Bear and D for your team right away. For me, still a lot of good choices.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Jason.
I was between Jason and D. Okay. This is where it gets a little bit tougher for me. I felt really good about those four, and now I feel less good about the rest of these folks. I think with my third pick, I will go with just give me Angela. Come on. That's just the fun way to do it. Give me the crazy lady. There we
Team
go.
Crossroads, very well represented in
That's
this
true. That's
season so
true.
far. My third pick is going to have a thought. It's gonna be a shocker because I talked so much shit about them. I'm gonna pick Rome.
All right. There we go. Going
I
with Rome.
I'm
I
like
like it.
I think he's like the risky choice, but I'm really taking. All right, and then you get one more pick. One more pick.
One more pick. I will it gets a little bit tougher here. You know what? Give me Lala. That's a
Really,
good team. That's a team of legends
yeah,
right there. There we
it
go.
is a good team. I'm not mad at this team for you. For myself, my last pick will be really needed Bear to round out my team. Um, I'm going to pick we're both avoiding the people on the block. So like,
Yeah. I was thinking of maybe adding Taylor, but I mean, it's just to lose someone week 1 would be devastating.
yeah. You know what? Just because I know I'm not gonna lose her, I'm gonna pick Mallory. Mallory's gonna be my team. I think
Love
Mallory
it.
is gonna have
Love
the
it.
comeback of the season, and we're gonna be very surprised. A fun thing that I also wanted to do, just in the funness of kind of like random picks, I thought that we both can get a random pick on our team. So
I
someone
love
we
it.
didn't personally pick, but that the wheel of fortune gave us. So I'm gonna update this really quick with our
Add a
pick.
player to the team. Yeah. Sounds fun.
Oh, it was a surprise.
You're surprising yourself.
Taylor was on my list, but I was debating. All right. So we got this random wheel. I think we can spin me or you first.
Okay.
Or let's do both at the same time.
Okay. Awesome.
So
Let's do it.
see where it goes.
Oh my gosh. Lyric. All right. Sweet. That is, I am not really happy about that at all. That is probably one of the worst gets.
Yeah. Not the best.
That's all
But
right.
but not the worst. So you now have lyric.
All
You got
right.
the second half of my show, man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Here we go. Who is the fifth member of Team Donnie, and why is it Rick Devens? Come on,
It was meant to be.
Taylor. I'm not mad.
There you
I said I
go.
wanted Taylor. All right. I'm not mad at that. It's not the worst thing in the world. Taylor, I was thinking about. I even just said her name. Now, if she goes home this week, devastating for Team Donnie. It'll
Yeah.
be the tragic loss. I don't know if Lyric is a good pick. I'm not gonna.
I feel like I have absolutely no idea where her head's at, how she's trying to play the game. I think she still thinks she's at Love Island right now.
She just and we kind of said this when she was getting like her promo video. She just seems like on the wrong show to me.
Yeah.
Like, I just doesn't feel like she's on. She knows she's on Big Brother, and she's not really playing that way. I will say, out of her showmance, I could see Rome getting voted out first. So
True.
if
And then
if
she could
that's
kind of coast.
helpful for you, yeah, if that's helpful for you, I could.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get with Lyric, really.
Mhm. Do you believe in the rumor that there's going to be actually 21 players this season, or
I have to assume that if we had more players, we would know at this point.
yeah?
I think going over 17 would be kind of absurd. I think the most they've ever done is 18. So I mean, if you factor in Rachel as the 18th house guest, I mean, I think that's a full cast. 21 would be really, really over the top. Are there thoughts on who the 4 would be?
I just like I can't get out of my head that Julie kept holding up. Like the 7 popped up so many times in the promo. I will say it could have just been that the cast was getting announced on July 7th because it did. It did get announced. Could have been this. Everyone on TikTok is like, but no, July 7th, that was another hint at 7. That was like another that's a tradition. But I don't know exactly. I think potentially this could just be the cast, and the game's already started, so it would be kind of weird to add someone in
Yeah.
so late. But we've seen Stranger Things on Big Brother. Actually, we've seen someone get pushed in a volcano by a dinosaur. So I think
And
anything
die.
can happen on this season and die and get replaced in the game. I'm excited for all of our newbies this season. I think that I honestly like, and I like our vets, but like I honestly hope that like they get 1 or 2 of them out quickly so they can actually play their own game. I think like Barrett and Drew kind of are leading us to believe that they'll be actually interesting players to watch in the game. Like I can't wait
Yeah.
to see that. And I will almost want D not there to kind of sway what they're gonna do and kind of make their own dent in the game. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the war between the Roman Empire and the Crossroads and see who comes out on top. We also got the Red Corner in there. We can't forget about them.
Of
Taylor's
course.
getting her wish. 3 sides of the house.
True. She's going to be able to pit them against each other.
Yeah. Maybe that's her plan all along, and she has a secret alliance. Well, I think she's connected with Chuck at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And Chuck Taylor. Hey, the BB what's it called? The BB blowout could be could be coming. It could be the move.
I'd love to see that happen. That would be a fantastic unfolding of events. But yeah, I definitely think that the cast feels a lot better than looking at the cast reveal. It's just, I think it's, better seeing them in real time playing the game. Seems like we got a lot more gamers than I really expected.
Yeah, and like I think Drew and Baird have actually been impressive. I just feel like you need that like strategic mindset people in the house. And I think like then you have someone like Rome who's like a natural opposition to that. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the dichotomy of like Rome is laying in bed with Lyric and macking. But also playing the game. He's also playing the game. I can't take that away from him. So I'm excited to see what happens. But prediction on who's getting voted out on Thursday this week.
I think it's going to be Yash. I think he's going to play too hard, too fast. What are you thinking?
I think everyone's gonna be so upset about it. I think it's gonna be Ashley. I think Yash is gonna
Mm,
come out on top. I think Yash is building an army, but I think in a way has a good amount of numbers. So like if he can kind of pull it off and maybe even win the blockbuster to really solidify, I definitely think that like we'll be seeing Yash stick around. It'll be sad if Yash gets voted out. He just found out he was playing like 3 days ago. That's why he's
true.
playing hard.
Yeah, that is probably why he's playing a little bit harder. He's like, this is my shot. Now he's nominated week 1. Really kind of a very unfortunate series of events for this guy.
We'll see what happens. We'll be back hopefully next week to give you our thoughts on who got voted out. Hopefully a new HOH. Please, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait, guys. Give us HOH on Thursday eviction episode. Let's see it take place. Thank you.
Crapshoot HOH. Give us 20 crapshoot HOHs.
Honestly, I would love that. I hate when it's like, we'll see you next episode. It's like, come on. And the
Ugh.
feeds go down like half of the night. And then you gotta wake up the next day. I was like, damn, Rachel died in the White Lotus. Like we don't need stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, thank you all for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.
See y'all later.
Your typical podcast. Your typical podcast.